Good evening, I'm Dike Rostant. Welcome back to the TTT News. The race is on and we are taking a closer look at some of the marginal seats in the lead up to the general election. We are very happy to have Dr. Winford James help us delve into the numbers and what they may mean for these seats heading to the election. So we say good evening, Dr. James, and we start off by asking you your general thoughts on the constituency of Barataria San Juan.
Well, I think that the majority that the UNC has is challenged by the PNM. This is a seat that has changed hands several times, probably 4 times each for the UNC and the PNM. I don't think that has changed, although the polls indicate that the UNC is in the lead in Barataria San Juan. But we have a little time to go, and we also have to figure in we have to factor in the small ethnic groups, the mixed and the others, who give their support on the basis of the issues. So we have to look at that. And then we have the undecided. I don't know what the rate of undecided voters in Barataria San Juan is, but some of those people who have not yet made up their minds will give their votes to the UNC. So both parties stand a good chance, and we probably will not know for sure until election night.
Is there anything or any of those issues that you may have spoke to specific to that constituency?
Well, I can only go by the polls. I don't have much that is specific to the constituency, because the parties all claim the same kinds of thing, and how well they can represent the constituency, how caring they are. We know, of course, that the UNC has acquired Nafisa Mohammed, who's part of the Mohammed clan, and that for them is really a victory. And so they are going to milk it for what it's worth. But the Mohammed clan is only one part of the puzzle. This constituency has changed hands, as I said, and obviously there are matters that are not necessarily related to ethnicity that are used as a basis for people casting their votes. So there is nothing specific that I can really relate to, except to say that the Muslim vote that stays home will probably come out. More Muslims will vote, and it is felt that the Muslim vote or the Muslim vote favors the UNC far more than, not far more, but more than it does the PNM.
No, I like the fact that you speak of puzzle, and it begs the question, is there significance to this constituency being marginal, for want of a better term, for so long? Because this is something that you go back to 1986, and the constituency of Barataria San Juan has been established. But popular thought might be that with that type of time frame, it may settle, for want of a better term, to one side or another. But as you said, but there's been so many shifts. Do you think what's the significance of that?
Well, it just means that the ethnic monolith that some of the other seats are, and on both sides of the fence, has not yet developed in Barataria San Juan. For example, our approach is an ethnic monolith. Diego Martin West is an ethnic monolith, right? Barataria is not. You probably have as good a number of Afros as you have of Indos. So you don't have the ethnic basis to give any party comfort that they can win. But when you go back to 1986, as you just mentioned there, you realize that in 1986, what happened, the NAR, came together with other forces, including, of course, the UNC and the COP. Came together, well, the COP probably was not formed yet, but came together with the ULF and the DSC in Tobago, and won that seat by 32% or thereabouts. You could just show that graphic again. And that is because of the fact that the UNC was part of a coalition of forces against the PNM. That's when the UNC wins, or is part of a winning combination. When they team up with other opposition forces. And the same thing happened again in 2010. If you put up the figures for 2010, you will see again when you had a coalition of the People's Partnership, of which the UNC was the dominant partner, and you find that again the majority that the People's Partnership achieved was much higher than what normally prevails in that constituency. And that's why the 10% definition is critical, because for most of the other times, the majority held by the eventual winner is never greater than 10%. If you can show your viewers that graphic, you'll see that the majority that is held, quite apart from the anomalies of 1986 and 2010, the majority is held by whoever is the winner, is 10% or below.
And I think now is a lovely opportunity to get you to juxtapose this thought with your response to identity politics that you shared, because somebody was asking you to share your thoughts on identity politics, and this was under a column that you did. So can you elaborate on that, guys?
It's not both. I think it's 3 polls we have seen, right? So we've had HAB, we have had Solution by Simulation, Nigel Henry, and we have had NACTA by Dr. Vishnu Bisram, and all of them. But let's focus on HHB and SBS, Solution by Simulation. And those 2 polls clearly identify that the most important basis on which votes are cast in this country is ethnicity or race. There can be no doubt. In the HHB poll, 61% of Afros said that they would vote for PNM, and 55% of Indos said that they would vote for UNC. And the percentage of Afros that would vote for the UNC is about, 7%, and the percentage of Indos that would vote for PNM is about 6%. So there's a statistical tie where that is concerned. But that's the clear basis there. You can't beat that. But then you also have to consider the percentage of other and mixed, right? These are the small ethnicities, right? Who do they prefer? I think just 45% in the HHB poll that said that they would give their vote to the PNM, and 19, I think, % of them said that they would give their vote to the UNC. And the numbers are not different from those that we've seen in the Solution by Simulation poll.
But speaking of preference, though, I want us to take a break. When we come back, we speak a little bit about personality versus party, but we do that when we return. Stay with us. Welcome back. We are speaking with Dr. Winford James. Yes, the race is on, less than a week to the general elections of 2020. Now, Dr. James, I wanted to speak about personality versus party. Some people are saying that depending, and you use the term monolith, and some people said that if there was a big stone representing one party, depending on where that big stone was, it would be voted for. But there isn't that monolith in Barataria, San Juan.
No.
Do personalities have any role to play as you see it in this election for this constituency?
You mean this year?
Yes, because we have an individual who has been a senator who has gotten the opportunity to showcase some of his talents, the fact that he will advocate or agitate for certain things. We have another individual who is known for speaking. Some people would even say that is a mark against him, but at the same time has been active in the community for a while, to the point of living in the community. Do you think personalities in this constituency, in this election,
let's name them?
difference?
We have Jason, right? Jason Williams.
Yes, Jason Williams and Saddam Hussein.
And he's been in the Senate, as you said. Let's be generous and say that there must be some value to the personalities that the different parties select to run in different constituencies, right? It is because the parties think that there is some purchase to each of those individuals, that the individuals are assets to the party or could be serious assets. Let's start off with that observation and acknowledge that it's a generous evaluation. But when you look over the years, let's start from 1986, and you come down to 2015, you have some serious names, right? You have Ken Butcher, you have Kamaluddin Mohammed, Linda Babulal, Fuad Khan, Joseph Ross, and so on. Who are the names that really gave some edge or advantage to the different parties? One can easily say Kamal. Kamal gave an edge because he was representing in very clear ways. I think it's not very clear today, but in very clear ways he was representing the Muslim community. I think we can say that. Dr. Babulal for the PNM, she became head of the Senate, president of the Senate, and acted as president of the country. But I don't know that before she was elected, what is it she brought to the table specifically. Ken Butcher was a sportsman, as we know, and this was an anomaly, as I put it, because he beat Kamal by 32% of the votes. And apart from being well known in the sporting world, we don't know that it is because of that he beat Kamal. I think the stronger argument is that the opposition forces came together and he was a good candidate, but we can hardly disaggregate his value from the value of the party. Now, if you want to give some votes to the fact that he was a sports leader, fine, but I can't disaggregate that value. Fuad Khan, he's a medical doctor, I think a urologist, and he won 3 times straight, or was it 2 times straight, and then there was a year when he lost. But I don't know specifically what he brought to the constituency for the UNC. I'm saying wherever you go, you're going to have that difficulty determining what the candidate's value per se is as against the value of the party, and where the party stands in the universe of representation in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know that I can do better than that in terms of talking about or describing the value of personality. If you go to the current 2, that is to say Saddam Hussein, well, he's well known. He's well known, and he's a young guy, young, bright guy, and he's made a lot of noise in the Senate. I don't know whether that is a pulling card to those who would not normally support the UNC. It's difficult to say, actually, DK.
And on the side of Jason Williams, who has
Jason
this is first foray into this sort of arena.
Yeah. He came to fame with that song Parlant, do you remember?
I do.
Yes, he came to fame, and he would claim that he's with the community. He's a DJ, he has been promoted as a DJ, so he probably has some appeal among the younger folk, but you want the appeal to be beyond that. Of course, if the younger generation, 18 to 45 or whatever, are a group that you have to focus on because of the frustration they feel with so many things in this country. And if you think Jason can win them over and help them to see that what the PNM is promising in respect of development of youth, in respect of reducing crime, serious crime, significant, in respect of having better jobs, you know, given the fact that more and more young people are getting better and better qualified. If Jason can appeal in that way to the young people, and if they can believe that he will be a voice in the parliament and perhaps in the cabinet if he's given a cabinet role, that their bets will be better realized with him there, perhaps so. As I said, we must allow that the candidates bring something. The difficulty is determining what that value is among the other values brought by other factors, not the least of which is the PNM as a monolith and as a successful monolith over the years.
But being able to disaggregate and look at the value that parties or individuals bring to the table, do you see? Are you able to ascribe some of that value to possible behind the scenes support? Because Fuad Khan said that even though he was not going up for re-election, he was not bowing out of politics altogether. So do you think that it would be possible for him to rally some support behind the scenes?
Oh, yes.
Because we haven't necessarily seen him walking.
Yeah.
But.
That is for sure. It's not as if they are frustrated with the party to the extent that they can no longer support it. So Fuad is not the only name that we know and recognize very well who has promised to work behind the scenes. If you go down to Maruga Tableland, for example, Dr. Lovell Francis has endorsed Winston Gypsy Peters and is working behind the scenes. And you could call almost any, let's go to Arima. Garcia, the current Minister of Education and representative of Arima in the Parliament, has given his support to Penelope Beckles.
But don't let the cat out of the bag too much, Dr. James. You spoke about Maruga Tableland, and we hope to speak to you about Maruga Tableland on Thursday, please God. So we look forward to that. We thank you for this evening. And on behalf of the entire news team, I'm Dike Rostant. Thank you for joining us. Good night.